the show, I did a little jig. I was like, I have to just kick up my heels and dance a little bit because I'm in love with these. I love, and I'm not the only one, I'm not alone here, the Black Angus Sirloin steaks from Rastelli's. And I know I'm not alone because every year we do a customer choice poll and we allow our favorite foodies to vote, and 80,000 plus people voted this year. And of all the items that you can grill that we offer, and we offer a lot of grilling possibilities, this is the winner. This isn't kind of the winner. It was like one of Rastelli's items. This is the winner. The Black Angus Sirloin steak is the one that you said, yep, hands down, best grilling item. This is a sale price of $89.95. I want you to look at that for a second and know, wow, that's under $90 for 10 sirloin steaks? How often would you be able to take 10 people out to a fancy steakhouse and the check is $90? Actually, the check is $89.95. Let's just say never. I'm just gonna say never. 4 easy payments of $22.49 and ships for free. There's no auto delivery on this. So just like the lovely premium pork ribeye as our today's bonus buy, and everybody's like, okay, well, let me stock up on that. And we just had a grill as a today's special value on Sunday that flew out of here. So we already know that you, our guests and our shoppers, are thinking about grilling season, are thinking about it's March Madness, are knowing you want to put something tasty on the plate for your family and friends and you're about to entertain. These are 6 ounces a piece. So yes, you can do 6 ounces in the Black Angus Sirloin steaks, and this is, just in case you're curious, the lowest price we've ever offered. I'm gonna say that again. We've offered the amount before, but not at this price. So we're under 90 and our usual price is 110. And you're the first ones to see this low price. And let me say again, no auto delivery. Now, as somebody who shops our food line and somebody who loves auto delivery, P.S., and I've run out an auto delivery and been like, where is it? Auto delivery is really just our promise to you. It's not your promise to us. It's our promise to you that, guess what? We will lock in the ability to send you every blank days this item. We don't have that on this. So again, just like the ribeye, I don't know when the next time we'll see this is. So if you're thinking, wow, under $90, I've got Mother's Day coming up, I've got Father's Day coming up, I've got the 4th of July that's coming up, I'm gonna wanna be entertaining. I wanna make sure that my second little freezer is filled so that when I have movie night with the friends, when I'm gonna be outside and we're gonna be, you know, all standing around the pool or around the grill, I wanna make sure I've got something to put on the grill. This is it. Brittany and Ray Rastelli are right here. I have fewer than 800 of these to go around, which might sound like a lot, except we are broadcasting in 80 million households. And so fewer than 800 doesn't go that far. And so at this price, if you are on the fence about it, and I know that maybe you go to the big box stores and you're like, I'm gonna buy in bulk. This is your buying in bulk, really great opportunity because it's $8.99 a steak. What? How does that even happen? They're literally, and it's a 6 ounce Black Angus, wet aged 4 days, hand trimmed. I'm gonna turn it over to you guys because the flavor is amazing. This is a steak that I can do anything with, Ray and Brittany. Like literally, whenever I need steak meat, this is the one I grab.
That's absolutely right, Rachel. This is the everything steak, right? Yep. We call it our everything steak because you could do everything with it. So first and foremost, thank you, Brittany, it's all Black Angus beef, right? Born, raised, and harvested right here in the United States, which is the way it should be. It's corn-fed. This is not the grass-fed version. This is our corn-fed version. So it's gonna be very richly marbled, right? But they're also very lean. So you're not gonna have any fat left over when you're done eating this steak. You're gonna eat it from one end to the other. It's 6 ounces of lean meat. So just like the other items we were showing before where the cod, we cut it in half, you could do that same thing with this sirloin, right? 3 ounces of sirloin meat is a very hearty meal for Brittany and I. We'll typically share one, put it over top of a salad because we don't eat as heavy as we maybe used to when we were in our 20s. We're now approaching 40 this year.
Who's approaching 40?
I just spilled the bag, but we are turning 40 in the next year. You're turning 40 in about a week, actually, honey. But I will be 40 in. Brittany's older than me by about 2 months. But my point is, we're eating a little bit less, and I'm going to be in trouble for that later. But
no, it's okay.
No, I love it.
A little bit less, and 3 ounces is more than enough for us. So this steak, because there's no fat on it, is perfect for us, right? Typically, maybe a 10-ounce ribeye you would need because you're going to have maybe 2 or 3 ounces of fat. This sirloin steak is completely lean from one end to the other. And I want to show you just what it looks like raw, Rachel, because I think that's what really allows you to see the difference between our sirloin and a sirloin that you would get at the grocery store, right? Sirloin is a very known steak. It's typically sold at every major steakhouse around the country, right? From the low end to the high end. They just happen to have different grades of it. The high end ones have this Black Angus USDA choice type of product, right? Like we're using here. But this is a whole sirloin. It typically weighs, the center portion of it, the center cut, weighs about 3.5 to 4 pounds. A whole sirloin that has all the fat and the cap and all the stuff that you don't want to eat typically weighs about 10. So I want you to think about that. This weighs about 4. Whole sirloin weighs 10. So when you go to the grocery store, that whole sirloin has a huge layer of fat, all these things that you don't want to eat or that you can eat and you'll have left on your plate when you get it home.
Right.
We take all that off and put it into something else, right? And then we just give you the very center cut portion. We cut it in half. We do what we face the front of it, where we make it nice and square, right? And then we'll cut these perfect 6-ounce steaks. And you could see how lean they are, right? They're still marbling, running throughout that cut of beef, so you're getting all that flavor, but they're very lean. There's no fat on this steak, on any sides of it. You're gonna eat every ounce of it all the way through, and it's just perfect. So what Brittany's doing over there is she took...
kebabs. I think chili cubes.
That's right.
I think
So
on top of salad. I think with the little fajitas. I think, you know, if you want to make tacos and you want to just like slice the meat into strips or little cubes, however you want to do it. This is just straight up deliciousness. And by the way, just to remind you, do you know when you go to that steakhouse and it says Black Angus, that all of a sudden that tacks on a little extra money? Because there's like a sirloin steak, but then there's a Black Angus sirloin steak. So when you go good, better, best, right? You go to Black Angus, and then you go to a steakhouse. I was going to ask you, Ray, because they do something called wet aging, right? And that's not what happens in the burger joint up the street. They ain't wet aging the burgers that you get, right? Or even the steak sandwiches that they hand you. They're not wet aged. What does that do, my friend?
That's exactly right. So, you know, so many people always ask, I mean, Brittany asked us when we first started dating almost 12 years ago. She's like, how come the steaks are always so much better that you bring home that I can get at the grocery store? Well, there's a big difference. First and foremost, it's the Black Angus, the consistency that comes from that, but it's the wet aging. What that means is we've taken this meat under vacuum pressure in a vacuum package with no air, and we've aged it for at least 28 days. They don't do that at the grocery store. There's one reason. They want to get it in the store, cut it, make it last in the case for like 5 to 10 days before you buy it, which is not a good thing. And then you're getting it typically about 5 to 10 days old. Well, that meat hasn't had time to break down. It hasn't had time for the enzymes in the meat to make that meat more tender. This meat's been aged minimally for 28 days, typically more like 30, 35 days. Then we cut it, then we vacuum package it and lock in all that flavor and freshness and keep out all the things you don't want. That aging process is why when you go to a great steakhouse, you have an incredible experience that you just can't maybe replicate at home because you're buying meat at the grocery store or the butcher shop. Well, I can tell you every piece of meat that we bring to our QVC guests is wet aged that way. So that first and foremost separates it completely. But Rachel, then what you can do with this steak, right? This is 1 6-ounce steak that I then just cut into these beautiful fajita strips. And Brittany's gonna show you the finished version of this, right? We talked about tacos and salads and cheesesteak sandwiches. You wanna have a great cheesesteak sandwich, take a Black Angus sirloin, right? Just like this, cut it in a fajita, maybe even a little bit thinner, and just lay it on top of a Kaiser roll with cheese. You're gonna have an incredible experience. Or those cubes, right? You talked about the cubes that you take and wanna make kebabs. Summer's around the corner. What a better way, because it's so lean, you're gonna eat from one end to the other, so you don't have to worry about dealing with all that heavy fat and gristle.
Or you do the cubes for chili. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, you were saying I see fajitas, I see kebabs. We have that all here. So we have our kebabs that we made.
Right.
Ray cut them into cubes.
You're getting 3 kebabs from one steak, Brittany, right?
Exactly.
3 of them like this from just one sirloin steak.
Really casual, you know, just steak sandwich that we made. And then in the time that you two have been chatting, I already was able to cook my strips of sirloin with a little bit of stir-fry sauce.
I love when you do it that way.
And then just a tiny bit of broccoli with my microwaved rice side that took 90 seconds. And in the matter of time, again, you two were chatting, we have a stir-fry dinner ready to go for our family in a matter of minutes. I always go ahead and either try to defrost this in the morning, and if I forget, which I often do, it only takes about 20 minutes in a bowl of cold water to go ahead and defrost that. And then you can cut them down any way you need them. as a base in some of your favorite recipes, and stir fry is one of them for us.
Mine
we do that
too.
with salmon, we do it with pork,
Yeah.
and we do it with the sirloin, and we do it with the shrimp.
That's right. And Brittany, you know, we can thaw it out so quickly because every one of them is individually vacuum packaged like this. So it's going to lock in all that freshness, keep that meat beautifully red, but it's locking out all the bacteria. And when you put this in your freezer, 12 months from now, it'll look exactly like this. I have guests that often call us. Now, we guarantee the shelf life for 18 months. Think about that, 18 months. It's a year and a half. But we have guests that call us and they're like, we've had these steaks in our freezer for 3 years and they still taste perfectly, right?
Right.
They still
They
taste
do.
perfect because of this
They're delicious.
packaging. That's what separates
They're
it from anything
delicious.
else.
Yeah, they're delicious.
doubt.
I'm just laughing because when I saw the with the stir fry, I was like, gosh, that's so delicious. And I always do it with our white rice that we have. So I like
Right.
Yes, we did that the other
Yeah,
night.
We
the
did.
white rice is
With the
so
garlic one.
tasty. And then I was
It
thinking
is.
in my head, and you'll have to hold this because I know I'm going to see you next hour. Beef stroganoff. Is that just like a really old recipe? But you could do strips and put it in beef stroganoff, don't you think?
Yes, we've made it before with
Oh,
this,
yay.
and that's just a wonderful
Okay.
traditional recipe. You have
Yeah.
the egg noodles ready to go on the side, and the cream and the mushrooms, and it's a fantastic dish. And that's another one that you think takes a while,
Yeah.
but with the right products, it certainly does not have to.
I love it because all of a sudden I was like, God, that's like a kid. Maybe it's an old person's recipe. But I love it. I'm an old person. Whatever.
No, it's classic. It's classic.
It's
not
it's
old.
classic. Thank you. I'm going to go. I'm being told I have to go. So I'm going to see you next hour, though, because we have today's bonus
Yes.
buy in that, too. Thanks, you two. I always enjoy spending time with
Thank
you.
you, Rachel.
I'll see you after this. And continue to stick around with me because I have Gourmet Holiday, and they're going to make an appearance. That's coming up right after this. See you in a second.